toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls, who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Praise be to thee, most supreme God, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-pervading, the only being. Take us in thy parental arms, raise us from the denseness of the earth. Thy beauty do we worship, to thee do we give willing surrender. Most merciful and compassionate God, the idealized Lord of the whole of humanity, thee only do we worship, and towards thee alone do we aspire. Open our hearts towards thy beauty, illuminate our souls with divine light. O thou, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, all-powerful Creator, Sustainer, Judge, and Forgiver of our shortcomings, Lord God of the East and of the West, of the worlds above and below, and of the seen and the unseen beings, pour upon us thy love and thy light. Give sustenance to our bodies, hearts, and souls. Use us for the purpose that thy wisdom chooseth, and guide us on the path of thine own goodness. Draw us closer to thee every moment of our life, until in us be reflected thy grace, thy glory, thy wisdom, thy joy, and thy peace. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. Inspirer of my mind, consoler of my heart, healer of my spirit, thy presence lifteth me from earth to heaven. Thy words flow as the sacred river. Thy thought riseth as the divine spring. Thy tender feelings awaken sympathy in my heart. Beloved teacher, thy very being is forgiveness. The clouds of doubt and fear are scattered by thy piercing glance. All ignorance vanishes in thy illuminating presence. A new hope is born in my heart by breathing thy peaceful atmosphere. O inspiring guide through life's puzzling ways, in thee I feel abundance of blessing. O thou who art the maker, molder, and builder of the universe, build with thine own hands the universal, our temple for thy divine message of love, harmony, and beauty. Okay. Purification breaths. Be with earth. one Chagall.
Oh, Miss Ellen, could you wait 1 minute? I have to get my glasses.
Okay. Okay. The subject today is incarnation to resurrection. And so we're going to go through Pir Vilayat's, what he wrote. Now, I don't know if he wrote this or if this was from a lecture. I don't know. Some he wrote, some of these things he wrote, some of these were extracted from lectures, talks. Okay. Get some light here. Okay, recall that in the practice called baptism with the earth, you breathe in through the nose and exhale through the nose. The whole idea is to take advantage of the condescension of Mother Earth to absorb our pollution. Okay, that's kind of cool, huh? That's very kind of her, but one mustn't overdo it. One allows the polluted magnetism of one's magnetic field to be drained in the earth. One encourages it, one thinks of it, and by one's thought, one helps this to happen. Do you guys do that? Do that? You have a blank look on your face.
I need to hear it now. I'm not sure if I do that.
Okay. What about you?
Yes.
You do it, right? Yeah. Okay. It happens anyway, but one enhances that action. In other words, when you're doing the purification breath, it still happens.
Yeah, okay. I was
Right.
just thinking that when we were doing that.
Yeah.
Clearing the mind.
There are always two aspects of each one of these breaths, exhalation and inhalation. On the exhalation, one is allowing the polluted energy to get cleaned up. But on the inhalation, one is drawing new energy into one's being at all levels, not just the body and not just the magnetic field. Unfortunately, modern humans have, to a very large extent, lost contact with nature. Now, more aware people are beginning to realize how important it is to know how to draw energy from nature. The Hindu rishis and sannyasins draw energy by sitting on the ground or on the street so that the bottom of the spine stays in contact with the earth. The consequence of that is that one really does experience the flow of energy through the earth and through the bottom of the spine and all along the spine. You guys do that? Ever?
It reminds me of grounding. You've heard of grounding techniques and going out in the yard and
Sitting on the ground. Yeah, pretty much
your
it.
foot
Yeah.
as much as you can.
You ever do that? Oh yeah, I haven't done it since I was a kid.
Really?
No, I stand, but
Mm-hmm.
I used to. Oh well.
I guess it's time to start.
Right around the fire pit.
Maybe. I guess the last time I really did that was the last time we did a sweat lodge, because you're sitting on the ground.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah, and then
It was a
lying
while
on the
back.
ground looking at the stars, you know.
Mm.
No. Men don't do those things.
Yes, I do.
Okay, here we go. I remember him making us do this too, right? You know, and I advise you all to sit against a tree. See, this is the point at which you say, okay, now everybody go out into the forest, because it's forest at the abode, you know, and go find a tree and sit next to it. Okay, here's where he's talking about it. I advise you to sit against a tree and really experience a kind of communion with the tree. You will find that you can actually really experience the rising of the sap in the tree against your back, and it will help you to encourage the flow of energy in your spine. It's a wonderful experience, and probably one of the reasons why, in the tradition of the Hindus, the ascetics always sit with their back to a tree and draw energy from the tree. In India, they make these lovely platforms under the trees so that people can sit and meditate under them on the platforms. If you have a garden, you can build a platform in such a way that you can sit in a comfortable position. When standing, the energy flows through the soles of the feet, especially if the feet are bare. Now, Majid and I were talking about this last night, and we realized that we've done this many times, and neither of us have felt a thing. So,
well, but from the tree,
From
but
the
I
tree.
have felt energy
from the earth, yeah. But I never got the rising sap in the tree bit. I never felt that. Have you felt that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're more
That's very
sensitive
tree
than we are.
connected, especially old trees.
Old trees.
Yeah, like the big ones. It's like wow. And then being out in California with the sequoias.
Oh yeah, that's where I have
And
a
then it
connection.
was like, oh my God, what an incredible scent. You can't touch them now, but back in the days when I lived there, you could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a connection to the redwoods. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That their bark is very rough, so it's
Yeah.
hard to sit next to them, you know.
But being close to them, like being laying on the ground or on a fallen tree and
Yeah, it's
being really
amazing.
close.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because of their age.
Or even the mass of
the
them.
mass of them and the age of them, they're like thousands of years old.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
like the primal tree.
Anybody else have that experience?
I have that in my woods where my mom is, where I grew up in the woods, so I did a lot of like sitting, hiking, camping alone, carving things,
Okay.
tree touching.
Okay.
But even just gardening,
Yeah.
touching plants
Yeah.
and holding them from the root, you can feel their life force going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you ever experienced
Yeah,
that?
for gardening, but sitting against
The tree.
at the abode, I got nothing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was always too uncomfortable.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's almost a very private thing. It's really intimate.
Maybe, yeah. That might be the kind of thing where you go off and you're looking around. There's 35 other people within your sight line, and they're all going, "Oh, I feel so wonderful," and you're just like, "Wow, nothing's happening for me." I'm kind of embarrassed that nothing's happening for me because all these people are pretending, or maybe they really are feeling something. Who knows it? And that's the kind of stuff that goes through your
Yeah.
head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next step for understanding the whole value of what we're doing is to really feel and see the way that the cells of the body, the molecules, the atoms, electrons, and photons within the earth get transmuted. There is a continual conversion of electrons into photons and matter into light. What is even more interesting is the conversion of matter into energy. That's happening all the time throughout the universe, and that's happening in our bodies. Now, what you're going to discover as we go through this paper is that it gets more and more complex. It's like building something here. It's extraordinary that one can consciously enhance the transmutation of the body, physical matter as we understand it, into an energy field. Eventually, one becomes pure spirit. I remember a rishi one time, such a wonderful being whose name was Sitaram. He was bubbling over with energy. He was about 86 or 90 years old, but his energy and joy were fantastic. He just pumped energy into all of us. He was experiencing resurrection before death, and that's what the Sufis say, die before death and resurrect now. You can start at 20, you can start when you were born. I'm not so sure about that. He said you can. Start when you were born. Okay, the way to do it is the secret of the alchemists. They were not just working with metals, they were working with how we can transform the body and work with the psyche. The art of alchemy was transmitted in the Sufis, as a matter of fact, through the Arabic alchemists. These are some of the secrets that have come through the Sufi order. When you exhale, experience the way that the polluted magnetism in your body gets turned into the earth. By polluted, I mean that magnetic field have a certain coherence about them and can be an admixture of very different types of magnetism which lack purity. You experience this as a draining. Now, you could experience this as a draining and not realize that you're just, it's not a good drain, you're just drained because your magnetic field is, what's the word I want?
Weakened, depleted.
Depleted, but it can also be mixed up. It's like the image that I had when I was thinking about this was if you take a piece of clear plastic, like this Lexan right here, and you dump a bunch of steel shavings on it, and then you have a magnet underneath. You just mix them up with your fingers, right? And that's the mess that we can get into. And then the magnet goes underneath, and it automatically aligns everything, right? They all have to go in a line. They all do. That's what you're doing. You're allowing that magnetic field of the earth to realign you. Okay, is that a good image? Does that work? Okay. Now, when one is meditating, one always thinks of drawing oneself upwards, aiming upwards. Now, there are certain meditations which are directed upwards, but in this case, you definitely transfer your attention down the spine, and that does facilitate the downflow of energy into the earth. As you inhale, you are experiencing the transmutation of the matter of the self, if you follow through. So what I want you guys to be doing is be doing this as I'm talking about this. So, because he's going to keep touching on these little points. Okay? Now, actually, it would be very good if we could know more about the cells of the body. Bless you. The electron microscope doesn't help us to see the cells of the body pulsing because the cells are already dead. There are new microscopes in which you can see the cells of the body moving. In the latest research, one is able to catch the flashes of light as the cells divide and to see the vibration rate frequency pattern of cells in the course of division in mitosis. So, if you could actually see this, it would make it easier to visualize the cells of your body as a kind of feedback system. And you can exercise some impact with your will upon what the alchemists call the process of transmutation. Now, at this point, I'd like to ask you what you're doing, how you're feeling, what you're experiencing, if anything, maybe nothing.
Just imagining the cells splitting, sparkling, alive, vibrating.
Okay. Wondering where this is going?
No,
You're not.
I
Well,
know where it's going.
you know where it's going.
Just doing the earth breath.
I'm feeling more of a shift from consciousness of the body to the energy field.
Okay. Okay. So that's what happens when you start concentrating on things, right?
In this case, yes.
Yeah. That's what's supposed to happen. That in the meditative process, one steps further and further away from who you think you are, right? It gets closer and closer to that being that is truly you, which is, because what we're doing here is you're really merging. It's a merging, right? You see that, how that could be?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's real. It feels fuzzy. Like it's not, like the physical body. You could say, well, this is the surface of it. Where in the energy field, I don't feel like a surface edge.
Okay. The cells of the body act like aphasic crystals, in which the atoms are all pulsing at a certain frequency pattern. In organic matter, the phasing can vary, and that's why we call it aphasic crystal. Okay, you all know what aphasic is? Is that everything's kind of like different?
Mm-hmm.
If it's in phase, then everything's the same frequency. Okay.
Okay.
If it's aphasic, everybody's
Okay.
doing their own thing, so to speak.
So it's sort of like we're in an aphasic environment.
Absolutely. Yeah. The cells act like and that can be very distressing, can't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
when
like
you run
I'm
up to-
always trying to like correct it, like align it so it feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Aphasic.
Okay. The cells act like crystals in the sense that they are able to absorb light from the environment. What happens now, that can be very tricky, can't it? If you're absorbing light from the environment, what vibration, which is really vibration or frequency, what are you absorbing? What are you allowing in, so to speak? Okay? What happens is that the electrons are something like planets in their orbits. And when one orbit is full, they move to the next. When they happen to be exposed to light, the furthermost electron, like the furthermost planet, starts using this light as energy. Light is energy. It keeps turning around and using this light as energy to a certain degree, so it starts wandering. And the other electrons start wandering. And the whole atmosphere is what you call in an excited state. And that's what we call ecstasy. On the whole body or on the whole psyche. Okay? Do I need to go over that again? You got it? When it's used up all its energy, it all goes back to where it was before. There's more energy, but the energy is emitted as light. That's why the atoms are not only made of light, but they actually radiate light. And occasionally one of these electrons plays truant. It says, I've had enough of this, I've chosen freedom. It sets off and it becomes a free electron. It can get transmuted into a photon, so that's part of the body itself, has freed itself from constraint in order to keep the body together. It has obtained some further degree of freedom, so it is experiencing resurrection. In the end, the whole process goes on, and the electrons continue to live and will be transmuted into photons, and the whole body will get resurrected. Resurrection is true. It's proven scientifically. So what's that say to you? Assuming you were paying attention.
One of the first things that comes to my mind is our ability to heal ourselves.
Okay. What else?
Impermanence.
That's another one. Good. Yeah. What else?
The futility of resistance.
Resistance is futile. It's a board where you will be absorbed. That's kind of, there's some truth to that when you think about it, right? So ultimately what happens is all of this that we consider ourselves to be becomes free electrons, right? Because it just dissolves, right? Goes back into the...
Yeah.
So what happens to your psyche?
Shifts, changes, it dissipates. But also, before it does, it becomes excited. It's like, and you can enhance this with your consciousness, with your awareness. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
You're aware of it. You're imagining it. You're thinking about it. You're sending. You're shining the light of your consciousness upon the whole process, so that the experimenter changes the experiment.
So if you sit here and close your eyes and imagine the light of the environment impacting upon your body, the body itself, what does that do? So just sit and close your eyes. Because the actual environment is continually reflecting itself, right? I mean, what's happening when you see something, a color or a shape, is you're seeing photons that have bounced off that object and are impacting your retina, right? So how's that feel?
My body doesn't feel as solid.
Yeah.
Well, what comes up for me is the question, given the environment in which I live, my first response to that is the thought that I have to have shields of discernment as to what energy I allow to be absorbed. But then this other thought comes up that says, well, energy is just energy, so it doesn't matter what degree of chaos or violence or rage exists, because if I can just access the pure form of energy, it doesn't matter.
There you go. That's the saint's path, or the path of the saint, you would call it. Okay?
Sounds like path of mastery to me.
Path of the saint. I'm right. Okay. What about you?
Trying to remember. Okay. Absorption. Like I can feel a faint housing, a necessity to house this experience in this physical body, but at the same time it goes way beyond, because overlaid in that absorption is I started thinking, are we all experiencing the same thing? And then I let go to the notion that, yeah, perhaps we are. Maybe we just articulate it differently, but that sheer, pure experience may very well be identical.
Is it or not?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Here's the cool part. While you are doing this practice, you can enjoy resurrection. What's that mean to you?
Well, when I shifted to that idea of just seeing energy as pure, I felt as though no matter what environment I was in, I could be energized by it.
Okay. What about resurrection? What's that mean to you?
Well, that's what that means.
To be energized by the environment.
It's our bodies, speaking physiologically, our bodies are in a constant state of resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Cells are constantly being replaced. And
Every 7 years you're totally replaced, something like that?
something like that,
Yeah.
it varies by the organ or tissue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What's resurrection mean to you?
Reunification, feeling not, the boundaries disappear of the individual. It's hard to describe, but it's for resurrection for me. It's not really necessarily the physical. It's much bigger.
You got something to say over there?
Well, yeah, I appreciate everybody's thought here, and feeling and experience is wonderful. To me, it's like absorbing the light makes me identify with light, become light, and become like pure spirit. So that's the resurrection to me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But everything everyone has said is like makes perfect sense to me. And you? What is your experience?
My experience?
Yes.
I've never quite understood resurrection. I'm still, the jury's still out on that one,
Okay.
for me. It's like a word that's a puzzle to me. Just so. I mean, I understand this process, but the word itself doesn't mean much to me, quite frankly. Maybe it's because of, getting battered in Lutheran Sunday school.
Yeah, we have baggage around the word.
Yeah, I got a lot of baggage around that word, so yeah, exactly.
Well, it just occurred to me that Christ said, "I am the resurrection and the life," and
The life.
and
Didn't
the
say
life,
it. Uh-huh.
and maybe that's what he was saying. I guess to me, resurrection isn't about passing out of this body. It's a day by day, minute by minute, nanosecond by nanosecond experience. And maybe that's what he was trying to help people see.
I don't know. Anyway, moving on. You can visualize the cells and can see them getting into an excited state. You can feel that, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Your consciousness of them will enhance your activities, and you can see and feel that the energy of the magnetic field is enhanced by the fact that the cells are activated. There's a further phenomenon which is also happening, and that is that the magnetic field can be transmuted. It can flip from a state where there's a lot of wattage and not much voltage to a state where there's a lot of voltage and not much wattage. That is what we mean by the difference between Qudus and high. Qudus is very high voltage and not much wattage, and high is a lot of wattage and not much voltage.
I don't really understand that. I don't know. I never really understood the difference between wattage and voltage.
Watts what make things go. Voltage is what kills you. If you touch it.
Is it like outward and inward?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Like that?
Isn't wattage just a different form of voltage? Like wattage is taking the voltage and putting it into a form that can
Yeah,
be
that's
used.
what I think of.
I used to know that Ohm's law. Watts over volts equals amps or something like that. What is it? Gosh, it's been too long.
Let's go look it up. Yeah, we have to look it up.
Now we gotta grab it, look it up, look it up at lunch. Okay. Anyway, watts is what a power plant puts out. Okay, and there can't be many volts there because the power. Okay, if there is, then it gets into gets into resistance. Right, more the volts, more the resistance.
So where are volts? Where are volts?
Volts come along, as I recall. I could be totally off about this.
Isn't it just a different wave of?
Well, they have to interact, and there's a law, Ohm's law, that states what the balance has to be in order for something to happen. Okay, so like if you have 110 power, that's a lot of volts and not many watts. If you have 440 power, which is what I had at my workshop in Yonkers, that's a lot of watts, and the volts have to be redistributed with 3 wires as opposed to just 1. Okay.
So it's not that the volts are the source of the watts. It's that they coexist. And
They coexist, and they have to
in
be.
balance.
They have to be in balance, or it won't work. Yeah.
That's helpful.
Okay.
Can you read the statement again? Now that we discussed that.
There's a further phenomena which is also happening, and that is that the magnetic field can be transmuted. It can flip from a state where there's a lot of wattage and not much voltage, into a state where there's a lot of voltage and not much wattage. That is what we mean by the difference between Qudus and Hay. Qudus is very high voltage and not much wattage. Hay is a lot of wattage and not much voltage. Okay? That make sense? Voltage is what makes things go, but you have to have the wattage in order for it to go. Okay? Then you got a 12-volt battery in your car, right? A lot of watts. I can't remember how many watts there are in a car battery, but it's a lot. Right? If you get a 6-volt battery, which won't run your car, but will run some cars, will run old Volkswagens, the watts are less, I think. Okay, so watts are what make things go. What was that? Did I
Do
say
you
that
have a
right?
dictionary here?
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, behind you.
Do you mind?
No.
Right, there's the Oxford Dictionary, the big one. Over to the other.
Those are,
No, over to the other.
in any case,
The big. To your right, that.
Wait.
That's the Oxford Dictionary. There's a dictionary upstairs.
let's
want
just
that
do it
one?
later and just move on.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do here, right now, is we're just going to stop. And you've all done this practice, Qudus Hay. But in the light of what we've just experienced, does that change how the practice might be for you?
Well, in my experience of doing Qudus and Hay, like Hay kind of fills the room with light.
Yeah.
It's just, it brightens everything up. In my experience with Qudus, it's like feeding, it's the generator. It generates within. It's
Which
not
is pretty much
necessarily
what he just said.
not radiating it so much. It's held within myself, my experience with that.
Produces?
Qudus, yeah. I feel it more closed in, where Hay it just goes whoosh out.
That's your experience too?
Yeah, the vibration of Qudus is.
Well, let's do it and
It's
see what
very
happens.
Qudus is
internal.
yin and
Yeah.
Hay is yang.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do them separately and then we'll do them together, okay? What?
Nothing. I lost my thought. Yeah. But just, it's like often Qudus has been described as like a lightning bolt. Like really powerful lightning bolt.
Mhm.
It's like energy. But I can't say that I've experienced that with Qudus, but I've always wondered about it. So another example of that is that there was a saint, Saint Seraphim, I think his name was, I think he was in Russia, and he lived outside the monastery in a little hut, and apparently he was allowed to do that, and he liked to play with the children that went there, but he didn't have too much contact with other adult human beings. So one fellow wanted to meet him, and then he knew about the children, so he gathered the children outside, and then he hid, and then he stood in front of the saint's doorway and said, "Tell me about the Holy Spirit. What is the Holy Spirit?" And the saint grabbed him and shook him like that, and he threw him to the side. He says, "That's the Holy Spirit." It's like in a sense, it's like, but to me the Qudus is really refined. I feel a real refinement with it, rather than lightning. So that's just my experience of it.
Okay.
You know,
Mm.
Whatever you get is what you get.
that's right.
Yeah. There's no rules here. I mean, that's part of the problem is that we get definitions, and then you do the practice with the definition in mind. And sometimes I think it's best to forget the definition and just do the practice, like now. Okay. Are you uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Not good support.
I carried a really, really heavy satchel for a long time one day this week, so my body hasn't gotten
Oh.
happy since that moment.
You want a more supportive
Nope,
chair?
I'm good. I'll just keep moving.
Okay. Yeah. You gonna do that?
What do you want to do?
Just repeat it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And just inhale, kudus. And then, yeah, hi, 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 yeah, hi. Okay, exhale, hi. Kudus, Ya Hai, Ya 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 Kudus, Ya Hai. So inhale Kudus, exhale Hai. Okay. How was that? What'd you notice?
It's a form of transmutation, or a way of experiencing transmutation.
Okay. Did you notice any differences in the three? Because we did three completely different things.
Sure.
Yeah.
The third one felt like a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that felt most natural, I think, where I just kind of let go.
The third one.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Okay.
but I did feel that transmutation. I started kind of noticing, I guess, in terms of resurrection, maybe in hindsight, how I've been changing. I've been, kind of trailing over the course of the past 3 years. Maybe I had kind of a moment where my mind was watching that transformation and realizing, oh, okay, something has been occurring.
Oh.
Yeah, so, it was a little movie screen thing in the corner.
Oh.
I don't know, I could get fixed on that word.
Movie screen?
Resurrection. Movie screen as well. Resurrection, yeah.
Okay.
I was struck by the vibration, physical vibration that I've experienced with the Kudus, like in the brain and the back of the head,
Mm-hmm.
and the height is more like out. And it's interesting because I wish we could do the Kudus in the way Birbala taught it.
The
Like even
long thingy.
Yeah,
Oh,
even
yeah.
3 times, because it has a different
Mhm.
It does.
quality to it.
Yeah, I
Okay, do
struggle
that
with
then.
that too.
Yeah,
Just saying the word.
yeah, and it does something. The vibration of it affects you physically.
It does.
Yeah, the problem with doing that with the group over 33, it gets.
Just three times.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can do it at your own rate as well. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi. Yeah,
Yeah,
hi.
hi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hi. Yeah,
Yeah,
hi.
hi.
You guys having fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, how did that change?
Yeah,
Your ideas?
because when we did the produce 33 times without the full vibrational thing, I just kept getting distracted by this feeling like this isn't the whole thing. This isn't the whole thing. Yeah.
Huh.
So thank you.
Welcome.
What was interesting for me when we did the combination of Caduce and Hai is that it felt like the light that I experienced with it's like the light bulbs being turned on and flashing out light was controlled, where the Caduce monitored the
I mean,
light.
previously, when we just did the 33, the combination with 33.
Right, 33.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the combination, the expansion of the light could be controlled. And what the image that came up with me was the light upon light in the lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you have anything further to say?
No.
You done?
Done.
Mm.
Okay, here we go. Elena, would you do me a favor?
What's that?
Go light a fire in the soup.
Oh, yes.
Just a light fire.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind turning the stove or the oven on to 325 also?
Okay.
Thank you.
You know how to do that? Our sexy new oven? Can't just
She
turn it on.
figured out.
It's about time you get a real oven.
You know why we had to get that oven? To get that stove? Got our oven
This
cracked out.
time, the other one died.
Totally died. And it was like the day before Christmas. And I ran over to the appliance
Oh.
store.
Were
It was
the,
like 3
were the
days before.
January sales happening yet, or did
No,
you
no,
not,
no. It was like 3 days before Christmas.
It was 1 day before Christmas.
No,
wasn't
not
it?
quite. No, it was
Oh.
3 days. And I ran over to the appliance store and they said, "Yep, we've got one in the warehouse. We'll bring it."
Wow.
The day before Christmas, I go over there and they got bad news. They shipped the
The wrong one, right?
No, they shipped the right oven, but it was smashed.
Oh, right.
Right. So I got the floor sample.
Oh,
I begged them and they gave me the floor sample.
that's right. I'd forgotten that.
Yeah. It was all quite dramatic.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. More practices. You will free yourself at many levels, not only the body level or the magnetic field level, but at the level of the psyche. The wazifa for incarnating is Ya Mawjud, M-A-W-J-U-D. And you feel yourself as the denizen from outer space who has landed on planet Earth in order to experience condition in the existential realm. The wazifa for resurrection is Ya Qayyum, Q-A-Y-Y-U-M. The conjunction of these two wazifas is stupendous. On the one hand, you are experiencing the incarnation, and on the other hand, the resurrection. Incarnation is Jal Mawjud, or generally translated as manifestation, right? And resurrection is Ya Qayyum, which is generally translated as the eternal or the quintessence of being. That's me saying that, not Pure Black.
The everlasting, yeah.
It's very powerful. And the ultimate realization would be like viewing yourself in the universe. I think this is a theme that we keep coming back to over and over and over and over. This image of I don't even know, it's not an image, it's an awareness that you are the universe. You know, which is kind of tricky because obviously you're sitting there in your body and it weighs so much, and your hair is this color, and you know, and you got up at a certain time in the morning and ingested coffee or whatever, and have a cold, and
Feet hurt.
feet hurt, you know, your knees hurt, and, right, or whatever's going on, right? All that tells you that you're here in this existential realm. What tells you that you are the universe? Assuming anything does. Other than it being a concept that seems kind of nifty, maybe a little scary at the same time.
For me, it's a sense of joy, and it's a sense of something. When you were talking about that without boundaries thing, like kind of feeling. It's a real good feel.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, when I intentionally focus on that in meditation, and then sometimes this feeling carries into daily life.
Okay. A sense of purpose like that?
Just a sense of the soup.
The soup.
Yeah.
The soup. Okay. Do you do anything like that?
Oh, it's just, well, it's like identifying with the cosmos, with the whole shebang. It's like takes you out of yourself in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's a funny word, shebang, you know. And so, so I don't necessarily think of it as a soup, but the vastness. And then you were reading me something from Ibn Arabi last night, you know.
Right. We're going to get to that.
Okay. But it was like the ages, like beyond the universe of ages, like that. It's like so vast. It's like so. So here we are, our worried little selves. You know, we go back. It's like a polar existence, and you know.
So that just makes me remember that sometimes I experience it as, you know, the stars and the planets and the vastness of the universe. But when I say soup, it's more like I experience it as the mingling of all the energies of all people.
Yes, lovely.
So that's almost two different ways. It's like two different.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's different.
Different, yeah. Very interesting point of view. Interesting soup.
Where is that I was reading? Oh, here we go. I love Ibn Arabi, but you know, most people, I think, their brain stutters when they try to follow his. But I'll just read this to you, just because it's fun for me to watch your faces. Okay, it is essential to know that as there is no end to the ipseity of God, you know, the existence, or to his qualification, consequently, The universes have no end or number. Okay? And you're all part of that. Because the universes are the places of manifestation for the names and qualities, as that which manifest is endless, so the places of manifestation must be endless. Consequently, the Quranic sentence, he is at every moment in a different configuration. Okay? It means equally that there is no end to the revelation of God. Now you will notice that what he's saying is antithetical to what most theologians would say. Right? They would say, here's what's going on. You can trust me. Yeah, and there are exactly. The power of God is constantly and permanently in a state of perfection. Because of this perfection, he does not reveal himself twice to the same person and in the same manner. He is constantly in new revelations, and just as it has not happened up to now, so the same revelation may not ever happen to two different people.
That's why it's so great to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And to hear what we all have to say.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
I always learn something from this. I think I learn more than anybody. Okay, in a hadith it is said, God has 18,000 universes, and this your world is just one universe from among them. The saying that God has 18,000 universes in part, and in total 18 universes, is drawn from the hadith mentioned above, even though there is no extremity to the revelation of God and no end to the places of the revelation of God. However, all these universes are encompassed by the five presences which here we are going to enumerate. And this, it goes on gets quite even more complicated.
Oh, that's the better part.
The five, well, I'll read the first presence. Okay? Have I lost you yet? Your brain started to stutter? No? Go, that's wonderful. Okay, the first presence, which is absolute unknowableness. Okay? This presence is also called universe of the divine nature. It is also known as the universe of non-manifestation, which does not come under any measure or form of comprehensibility. It is also called the universe of absoluteness. It is also called the absolute blindness. It is also called sheer being, absolute being, pure ipseity, mother of the book, absolute expression, ocean deep point, and the unknown of the unknown. Okay? Got all that? In the Quran it says, the keys of the unknowable are gathered all on his level. He alone knows them. The names that are mentioned above are only of one degree. Consequently, God, in this station, is in complete dearness and richness, beyond need of all qualifications they make about him. No qualification or name is possible at this station. And I should point out that this was written in Persian, and in Persian there is a neuter, which they use for God, and it's because it's English we can't do that, so they say him, just so you know, it's not being gender specific. Whatever word is used to explain this station is inadequate, because at this presence the ipseity of God is in complete transcendence from everything, because he has not yet descended into the circle of names and qualities. All the names and qualities are buried in annihilation in the ipseity of God. Okay? So what's that say to you? So you followed all that. And remembering that you are the universe.
That I wish I knew the original language and could read it in the original language, because in the English I think a lot is lost.
A lot is lost, yeah. So my friend tells me, yeah. But there's a lot here. I mean, the translations are pretty good. According to...
What is ipseity?
Existence.
Reality.
Reality, absolute existence. Without qualification. Now there's the critical one, because when you think about it, everything about you is qualified. Isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, in your normal being. And the things that what we were talking about yesterday. Qualifications, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our existence is dependent upon all of these realities that we give value to. Bonja's about to declare something.
That's
Well,
a
You
value.
can see it happening, you know.
I was just thinking of that. It's like from that absolute state, that absolute comes all the universes, all the names, all the qualities. It's like it's such a grand scheme of creativity. So even the names, even those qualities are constantly. It's constantly created anew.
Yes.
It's like this magical kind of event taking place, you know. So
I agree. Yeah.
It's like when a CD gets stuck. But it's stuck on the moment of creation. Right?
So then you clean your lens and off you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on in your head?
That this first thing is before there is even the thought of creation.
Yeah.
It's my experience with it is a knowing that it is alive. But there's nothing to, no quality at all.
Yeah. No qualification.
Nothing.
Right.
It is.
Even though the existence is absolute and perfect.
It's. I've been doing contemplation on what zero is. What is nothingness? And I discovered that with the Buddhists, they've got another word that's called mu, and mu is the total non-existence. It's even before zero, because zero is a qualification.
Mhm.
So the mu concept is that total blankness. Which I found interesting. Because I've never been able to describe that experience of that nothingness. But knowing that there was something the other word I used was like pre-pregnancy. It was like it had the all potential. I can't even say any more words about it.
It's okay.
would you call that samadhi?
Or satori. Either one. When you're in that state of being, all other things are irrelevant. All qualification is irrelevant.
No sense of time.
No sense of being.
No
You're just
sense
there.
of being.
You know, your personality dissolves. Or it doesn't even dissolve, it just kind of ceases to exist for a time. Pirbalite used to say that it would happen, how do you put it? It happen in a nanosecond and it's over before you realize it's begun,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
It's part of the deal. Okay, where are we at here? The ultimate realization would be like viewing yourself in the universe. Well, we went to that, right? Ask yourself, what am I doing in the universe? Who am I? You can see the whole thing. Whatever you are, one can define having interfaced and intermeshed and interfused with the fabric of the universe in the form of the body that your parents offered to you. That's a way of describing incarnation. It's not just mind and body, it is the polarization of these two that you are experiencing. The old-fashioned view thinks the body is dark, and so I'll toss it out. No, it's the interfusion, the interaction of the relationship. So the body is critical. Okay? I mean, in the past, it's been, to step away from the body, to become detached from it, doing all kinds of self-flagellation in order to pretend that it's not there and so on. Right? We don't do that anymore. It's part of who you are. Now, let's look at the extraordinary experience of resurrection. Using the image of flowers. Draw the essence of the flowers. Let the contingent part of the flower disintegrate and the flower will live forever. Okay? In other words, the aroma continues to exist long after the physicality of the flower has ceased to be. Right? Everybody agree with that?
I put a jasmine flower from my roof deck in the pocket of a tea like this, and I forgot that I had done that. I did it before I left for Utah, and then I slept in that tea. So every once in a while in my sleep I would smell jasmine, and then it took a couple days till I realized this flower was all dried up, but the perfume was still happening.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, there's your absolute your empirical evidence. The process of thinking is like the honey from the petals. It's perfectly good honey, and that's the secret of resurrection. Drawing of the quintessence of that which is contingency. Don't you love it when he does that? Okay. So what's the contingency? That's the existence, right? Your physicality, even your mind is part of the contingency of being. Okay, the quintessence of that would be like the what's another word for quintessence?
The essential.
Yeah, it's not the word I'm looking for.
Underlying.
Yeah, whatever.
Essence.
No, it's a compactedness, I suppose. When all of those experiences and realities become the perfume, no longer dependent upon the contingency. Okay, that's what you are. You are that quintessence continually, but you also are continually aware of the contingency of being. All right, and you know how Pir Vilayat would talk about toggling back and forth between these two states, right? So that when you are aware of the quintessence, the contingency has no importance. When you are aware of the contingency, the quintessence seems remote and unavailable. But you're also aware that you can flip back and forth. Okay? Is that helpful? All right. This is happening in us all the time in the body. The theory of the process of negentropy, the opposite of entropy. It's at the cost of using up energy that information is gained. When we are looking at resurrection, a physical event is transmuted into a psychic event. For example, when you experience something like an accident, at that time you remember exactly the color of your car, the name, the kind of day, the color of the clothes of the people involved. But now all that you remember is the anguish on the face of the person that was hurt and the feeling of guilt on the person who hurt him or her. In other words, an event that took place in time has now been registered, has been internalized in your memory, but in order to internalize it, it has to be stripped of all of the contingencies so that just the essence remains. You guys experience that? Sure you have. That's the meaning of resurrection. Otherwise, life wouldn't make sense. If all that we experience and dream in the course of our life gets lost at the moment of death, it doesn't make sense. There must be a process whereby the experience is kind of quintessentialized and eternalized. That is what the alchemists are working with. So we have these two practices, Mawjud and Qayyum. Mawjud being manifestation and Qayyum being quintessentializing. It's translated as the eternal. But there's several eternals.
Everlasting.
Yeah, everlasting.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it is, okay? So the quintessence of your being is the qayyum of your being. So that when you're doing the wazifa, well, I don't want to say anything. It's better if you find your own way in. So let's just do that and see what happens, if anything. Sometimes when you're doing it in a group like this, it's just a matter of getting kind of feeling the rhythm of the practice, and other times something happens. Now, Qayyum comes first because it's like this. Ya Qayyum, Ya Mawjud,
Yeah.
Ya Qayyum, Ya Mawjud, 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 Ya Qayyum, Ya Mawjud. Inhale Qayyum, exhale Mawjud. Okay. What, if anything, did you experience doing that?
It's like the religions that believe that individuals exist before birth, so it's the responsibility of the faithful to have as many children as they can in order for those individuals to be able to come into life. So the Qayyum was like, I felt like there was this crowding of divine qualities waiting to get through the door, and the Mawjud is like each of us as a vehicle for those expressions to be able to come out.
So we don't have to have a lot of babies?
So there's that sense of just responsibility.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Of course, I just came from Salt Lake City, Utah. So.
Land of babies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that concept.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't it interesting that they take it in a very
Literal way.
literal way? Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the only religion that does that.
Right.
Catholics do that.
That's why they-
Some
that's why-
versions of Islam do that.
Yeah.
Jews certainly do that, especially the Hasidim. So, seems to be yeah, expressing something, an extremely rarefied divine intent in a really
Concrete.
specific
Physical
way.
way, yeah.
Interesting that you picked that up. What about you guys? Got something profound to say, or is this one of those moments you're like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
My heart quickened. It was like beating faster, and it was a spinning sensation of it was like an endless connection of this spinning core up and down. It was almost like it wasn't done long enough, that something else was about to happen.
Well,
So
go home and
something-
do it a
yeah,
couple
I will
thousand
go.
times. and
Yeah,
see
see
what
what
happens.
happens.
Or only 2 or 3 times and see what happens.
Yeah, that's another way to do it. Just 3
Yeah.
times. And then just sit and wait. What's this mean? That's a good way to do a practice. Okay. As we were doing the practice, I was thinking that, the spiritual name of my friend Michael.
Qayyum.
Yeah, Qayyum. Yeah, he certainly did leave his perfume behind, didn't he?
I was thinking, feeling something else. It's like, with this connection, this polarity, what am I consciously manifesting on the planet? It's like, the responsibility, of that. And what am I then? What quintessential thing is then to the Qayyum, to the everlasting? What am I bringing out of it? To the
What story am I taking back to God?
not story. Something. It could be an emotion. It could be an accomplishment. It could be just some transformation. It could be anything like that. In a sense, you could say story, I guess. But but particularly what am I here to manifest? What is that? Responsibility.
Okay.
But I didn't come up with any answers. Just a question.
Just a question?
Okay.
Oh, you have something?
I do. I
Okay.
have a whole bunch of things. I resonate with everything everyone said in terms of the responsibility, wanting to experience longer. I could have literally, I felt like I could just stay there forever.
Doing this
That I
practice.
have been. Yeah, it was the most natural, I think, to date, it was the most natural experience of connecting with God and feeling a part of and in the midst of. And I really felt, which at my retreat in December, I was resistant to explore my angelic inheritance over the course of several months. I have been, and I really felt that culminating in that moment. And then there were moments of connecting with loved ones. There were moments of a sense of there being this kind of ongoing war, and my place in that responsibility. And at the same time, the term Ancient of Days comes to mind from the Bible, the ancient Hebrew terminology to name God. And I was experiencing that I feel when I hear that term, only in a very living way. Yeah, so, yeah.
That's it?
That's it. And I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And it was a weird.
Okay, we're wrapping it up here. A little bit more to go.
Can we get up and stretch?
I'm almost done. You can just be patient. Be patient. Even a scenic picture that was joy to the eye can remain continually in you, in your psyche, and be part of your being, which is why we have all this art. Well, I have it anyway. I don't know how you feel about it. But, I mean, I just love it. Every single piece that I have on the wall is something that I look at every day. I don't ignore it. Okay? That's the way your art should be.
Yeah.
I'm sure you understand that.
Mm-hmm.
That beautiful scene of nature has now become part of your being. It was outside and now it's inside, in your psyche, passing from the eye through the psyche. To understand that, you have to understand a law, that there isn't just one dimension of time. Now scientists are recognizing 2 or even more dimensions of time. This is the cool part. What I'm talking about would be an experience of moving from transiency into transcendence. Memory is a very good indication of something that happened in time and that moves into eternity. You know how I'm always saying that what really saves you is the memory of something that you've, a wonderful meditation that you've done, an experience you've had, a state of being that you were, imbued with. Those memories are so critical to our continual unfoldment. Okay, the Sufis have a theory, a vision, a way of looking at things. They call it azaliyat. It means that point where there's no more change in time, such as when the pendulum is suspended at the top of the swing. It's a point of timelessness. So in this practice, one can say that part of your being is moving in time, Ya Mawjud, and part is in eternity, Ya Qayyum, when you are experiencing resurrection. One is registered in the psyche, and that quality of your being goes through a lot of change. Eventually, which is what you were just talking about, eventually the ultimate point is beyond qualities, and that is when one is in samadhi. That state is of pure intelligence, not qualities, pure intelligence, beyond time and space. So all of this is coming through when you do your practice. See if you can experience yourself incarnating as you exhale Ya Mawjud and resurrecting as you inhale Qayyum. And that is the lesson for the morning.
Well, I have a question.
Okie dokie. You're going to prevent her from getting fed.
Well, mine too, because I also feel that urge wanting to eat again.
Okay. The question is?
What is the benefit of being in samadhi?
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I'm very mystified as to because it's not participating in this existence.
It changes how you view things.
I have
Where do you think I get my insights?
I don't know.
There you go. It changes how you view things. Completely. Everything changes.
And how you experience.
When you're in, it's like right now that state of being is an intellectual concept. I mean, it's a good concept, and there's nothing wrong with it. And you recognize that there's something that you can, discover about yourself just by enabling this concept in your being, right? So just accept that this concept exists. That makes a difference. It does. Okay? You really accept that?
I guess I've never really thought about it.
Okay.
As
I've never said
how-
it quite like that either. But now I am,
Yeah.
This conceptualization of a state of being that you have not experienced, but which you have some kind of familiarity with, because there's an intrinsic memory within your being that says this is a true thing.
But I've been there.
Yeah, of course you have. You
So I've
didn't-
never recognized how it
How it shifted your being?
has shifted my being.
Definitely shifted your being. It has to. You do not come back the same person.
I do not come back the same person.
No. You have an enhanced awareness. And things that were once important become less so.
Well, that I can recognize.
Yeah. Well.
I guess it's hard for me to recognize from my own position, like needing someone else to reflect. These are the changes.
Yeah. That's okay. That's what we need one another for.
Also, I
mirrors.
feel as though if I could take myself from even just a year ago, but my goodness, 10 years ago, and put myself next to myself now, I would see.
There's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a caveat there, because you're actually shifting your whole being up and down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've been having this fantasy lately of what it would be like if I was 19 years old again, knowing what I know now. My love life would be completely different. There's no doubt about that. Okay, but the all of these things, I just think about it. All of the choices that I made in my confused youth would be quite different. But the path to arrive at this state of expressing the divine intent that is intrinsic in the being, I don't know. It's a puzzle.
But that part had to be expressed as well,
I
as part of
suppose.
the divine experience.
I suppose. It was kind of crude. Yeah. Anyway, it's a puzzle. You want to know what your keeps in the oven?
It's a divine experience. Experiment.
Okay.
Great.
Harmony and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls, who formed the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance.
Most gracious Lord, Master, Messiah, and Savior of humanity, we greet Thee with all humility.
Thou art the first cause and the last effect, the divine light and the Spirit of guidance, Alpha and Omega. Thy light is in all forms, Thy love in all beings, in a loving mother, in a kind father, in an innocent child, in a helpful friend, in an inspiring teacher. Allow us to recognize Thee in all Thy holy names and forms, as Rama, as Krishna, as Shiva, as Buddha. Let us know Thee as Abraham, as Solomon, as Zarathustra, as Moses, as Jesus, as Mohammed, and in many other names and forms, known and unknown to the world. We adore Thy past. Thy presence deeply enlightens our being, and we look for Thy blessing in the future. O Messenger, Christ, now be the Rasul of God, Thou whose heart constantly reaches upward. Thou comest on earth with a message, as a dove from above when Dharma decays, that speakest the word that is put into Thy mouth, as the light filleth the crescent moon. Let the star of the divine light shining in Thy heart be reflected in the hearts of Thy devotees. May the message of God reach far and wide, illuminating and making the whole of humanity as one single family in the parenthood of God. Disclose to us,
pour upon us Thy love and Thy light.
Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light.
A torch in the darkness, a staff during my weakness, a rock in the weariness of life. Thou, my Master, makest earth a paradise. Thy thought giveth me unearthly joy. Thy light illuminateth my life's path. Thy words inspire me with divine wisdom. I follow in Thy footsteps, which lead me to the eternal goal. Comforter of the broken-hearted, support of those in need, friend of the lovers of truth, Thou art the Master, Thou art the Master, God. Ooh. O Thou art the maker, molder, and builder of the universe, build with Thine own hands the universal, our temple for Thy divine message of love, harmony, and beauty. Okay. I think I'm just going to go knock on the door upstairs.
Okay.
Okay, so sit down and just follow your breath once more.
Right. I'll give you a special lesson. The second presence. The first presence, right?
Yeah, I've got number 2 already.
This is also known as the presence of the first unveiling, the first revelation, the first jewel, the reality of Muhammad, the qualified spirit, the total spirit, the qualified unknowable, and the evident book. Get all that?
In the evident book. When in doubt, just say the last thing.
So, the first unveiling.
The first.
You spent too much time in the classroom. In the mother of the book, everything is seen collected together, and in the evident book, one begins to enter into chapters. The mother of the book is essence. This station is also called the universe of names, fixed potentialities, the universe of quiddities, and the great isthmus. All these are the names of the first degree, but they are used each with a special reference, and it is not considered a secret by those who know. Okay, there you go.
Nothing's a secret to those who know.
That's what I've heard. It's only a secret to those who will misuse or misunderstand. Okay, the third presence. This is sometimes also described. No clue? Weird. As the degree of the angels, the universe of examples, the universe of illusions. Firstness.
That's the name of it?
Mazar, where's the book?
It's right here.
Oh, okay.
The second unveiling, the second revelation, the extreme limit, the universe of orders, and the small isthmus, and the universe of chapters. There you go. We get up to the third. Fourth one's really a long one. And the fifth one deals with the perfect man. You understand the principle of the perfect man?
Well, you could go ahead with that while we're waiting.
That's a lot.
What was the name of the first one? The absolute something?
Absolute unknowableness.
Unknowableness. The second was?
Omnipotence. The universe of omnipotence.
Yeah.
The third is the angelic universe.
Okay.
The fourth is absolute observation or witnessing.
I'm gonna write down the name of this book.
And the fifth is the perfect man. That's an image that it goes throughout a lot of Sufi metaphysics. You know,
It's the metaphysical man.
yeah, like that image
Yeah.
that Leonardo da Vinci
Mhm.
drew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Perfect man. Okay. That being that exists regardless, just because there must be such a being.
Okay.
Okay.
So the perfection is about the physical form as well as the...
It has nothing to do with physical form.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Alright.
If you can get it, I don't know. These
I don't
little
know.
books tend to be like 200 copies and that's it.
Right.
You know.
Kernel of the kernel.
That's a great name.
I don't even know where I got it.
How many pages is it?
Not many.
Oh,
60 maybe.
yeah.
Oh, we could
48
run it
pages.
through the copier.
Okay, this is called Working with the Chakras. And the first is a quote by Inayat Khan. We are endowed with such great powers, yet normally we only use a small fraction of our inborn capacities. And the second is a quote from Lama Geshe Gyatso. The body is a wonderful vehicle in which to foster realization, so long as one develops its potentialities. Here lies the key to perhaps the most important and vital knowledge that has ever been explored and practiced in the spiritual traditions of humanity. From time immemorial, the key techniques ensuring mastery in the field of spirituality have been kept secret and are now, to a large extent, available in published works. Besides, we are living at a time when we can network this know-how with the latest findings of science. We are still at the exploratory stage. Ms. Auer?
Went outside to see if she was walking. I don't recall which direction she went.
Perhaps one of the ways of understanding what is meant by transforming the body so that it may become an optimal instrument to attain illumination is that each plexus of the autonomic system, the physical counterparts of what the yogis call the chakras, is connected with its particular endocrine gland. By concentrating intentionally, intensely, and methodically on a particular chakra, one will spark the secretion of the corresponding hormone in the body. In turn, each specific hormone turns the other endocrine glands on or off. Those highly specialized, esoteric, magical chemical wands of the body have specific effects upon body functions and patterns, and particularly upon the realm of emotional attunement. I love this phrase, magical wands. Wands. Endocrinology is one of the least explored areas of physiology, or rather psychophysiology. Our know-how on the subject is complicated in the extreme by the mutually reciprocal interferences of the effect of each hormone upon each other. However, the purely experiential research of yogis on the effect of concentrating upon certain chakras in the course of meditation gives us some invaluable clues, which may be then researched further with modern scientific techniques. Your feedback is most valuable. There is some reason to believe that the effect varies to some extent with the individual and with the degree of proficiency of the adept in the practice of meditation. All right. An invaluable guideline stemming from Tibetan Buddhism practices is, do not look upon a chakra from your usual vantage point as though it were the object of your attention. Rather, identify with it by turning your consciousness within the body, more specifically, inside that complex labyrinth of internal nervous pathways studied by junctions, the chakras. So the chakras are junctions of nervous pathways. This is how the network of the nervous system appears when viewed from inside. The metaphysics behind all of this, which can now be confirmed by some modern theories in physics, is that space can be inverted. Physicists speak of tunneling, linking areas of space in ways that do not fit into classical theories about modes of communication in a space hypothesized as being three-dimensional. Well, that's a sentence. Okay. This is probably one of the ways of understanding the meaning of the Buddhist term sunyata, the void. Perhaps it may be helpful to imagine that within these tunnels, space is less densely packed. And we're going to do these practices as we go, okay? The central channel, the spinal cord, will appear like a tube, sometimes called a lift shaft, bamboo, or chimney, within which you can displace yourself at will. It is helpful if you can envision yourself as a spotlight of intense light, so that as you move and zoom your light upon the areas from within, it lights up. As you explore the internal pathways from inside, you will notice that at each junction, chakra, there are innumerable ramifications whose numbers have been calculated by yogis. The Sanskrit word chakra means wheel. The spokes are these ramifications. And you know, each chakra is supposed to have a different number of spokes.
I don't know that.
Yeah. You could engage inside these. Beware not to get lost, but to return to the main channel. You can confirm that the heart chakra, anahata, seems to be home headquarters where you come to rest most comfortably. Dwell within it for some time. You'll feel a great psychic power, a strong, life-giving, magnanimous emotion. Now transfer your attention to the solar plexus. Can you feel the difference in the energy? The energy seems introverted in comparison with the extroverted energy of the heart chakra. So do you have any questions? And we'll just do that in silence. Any questions about that? Okay. So you're going to be like a little beam of light inside the nervous system, that like the channel. We'll just begin with the heart, then move to the solar plexus. So as this beam of light, you're going to explore the heart chakra, or latifa. All right, so please just do that in silence for a minute. And if you can move to the solar plexus, experience what is there, and then from time to time toggle back and forth between the two. Amen. All right, can you tell me your experience of that? Anybody care to start?
I actually started having a little bit of physical spasming.
That's
Here.
a very sensitive area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just instead of breathing hard on it, just you focus on it and then shift back to the,
Back to
okay,
the heart.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's really sensitive.
This felt very thunderous is the word I would use to describe that.
Thunderous?
And it has in the past, like Niagara Falls. That's always how I experienced that. Only it felt deeper than historically. And then this was kind of steadier, but
Okay.
I definitely had more physiological effects like the spasming.
This will be explained a little more as we go. And please be aware, whatever it is you're experiencing is your hak at the moment, your truth.
Okay.
So just accept it, don't judge it.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
don't
hard.
try to analyze it, anything like that. Just be with it.
Okay.
Okay, be present to it.
Okay.
Yeah, we tend to look at it as, is this the right one? Is this-
Right.
Yeah.
I was like,
Am I
whoa, what's
doing this
that?
properly?
I was a little
Because
surprised.
we're often told what colors to see.
Yeah.
And that's legitimate too. I mean, it's just a different way.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
But for now, for this thing, just be aware of what you experience and accept that. Okay? Can you contribute or do you not?
I don't have any words to describe it.
Okay. All right, go back into it and see if there's a key word that comes to you. Okay. Sarah?
When I focused in the heart, swaddling is the, if I had to say a single word, it's like I was being held. And when I slipped into solar plexus, it was this cavernous vastness. So going from the heart into that is a smile, you know, to say, okay, so I'm swaddled and I'm held, and now I can just go, wow, what's out there?
It's like the Sufis consider the solar plexus as part of the heart chakra.
Okay.
Like it's one total part of it. Different poles of it. But as if we did the resurrection and the incarnation, and this is all also has a pole to it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, did you have a thought?
Oh, I didn't do it
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
So,
All right. So we're going to explore different ways of doing this. Okay. So for the moment, you simply, so you can do it as I speak. Okay. For the moment, you're simply making a trial run. You will need to explore and study each chakra in depth to ascertain its effect on your attunement. We will go into this in subsequent lessons. Before you do this, you need to shift your model of yourself further. A more advanced paradigm would consist in considering oneself as a force field, rather than a substantial body studded with junctions and tunneled with wormholes. This energy field is intricately landscaped. Instead of thinking of pathways, one thinks in terms of streamers of energy, specifically contrasting with the energy of the areas they are penetrating. To make this a little more understandable, imagine a current of high intensity streaming through a field of low intensity, but much wattage. Similarly, the areas called chakras are now considered as vortexes within the energy field, typified by the nature and frequency of their energy in contrast with their environment. The method advocated, let's just do that again, just imagine that. Try to practice what we just talked about.
Read it again.
I'll read it again. Okay. Consider yourself as a force field rather than a substantial body studded with junctions and tunneled with wormholes. This energy field is intricately landscaped. Instead of thinking of pathways, one thinks in terms of streamers of energy, specifically contrasting with the energy of the areas they are penetrating. To make this a little more understandable, imagine a current of high intensity streaming through a field of low intensity, but much wattage. Similarly, the areas called chakras are now considered as vortexes, and they do turn. As the wheels turn, the vortexes also turn within the energy field, typified by the nature and frequency of their energy in contrast with their environment. All right. So go ahead.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is. It's a whole lot. So just go with it. Just instead of imagining, you can think of each chakra it being a vortex within your own energy field. You know.
Are we still only doing heart and solar plexus? Or
Yes, heart and solar plexus. If you wish, you can go to other chakras. You know, just explore that, the whole idea. In fact, explore the whole body for just a moment here, as an energy field with these vortexes and streamers of energy within the vortexes that are very high energy, high voltage, and it's like in a sense they're asleep when you don't think about them, but as you bring your attention to them, they wake up and enliven. Okay, so keep doing that and I'll read some more. The method advocated by the Tibetans is to help turn within consists in imagining that while inhaling, one draws energy into a particular vortex. This energy is reversed from positive energy to negative. Negative energy. What a challenge for the modern physicist. In fact, it is a paradigm reverted to in some equations of the new physics. The Tibetans call it resorbing the four winds into the void in the center of the body and practice it mainly in the solar plexus. The four winds represent four directions in which energy flows in the course of breathing. During an inhaling, A, from the zenith downwards, B, from the bottom of the spine upwards, C, from the right towards the center, and D, from the left to the center. Following this, one exhales and extends energy, upwards, downwards, to the right, and to the left. And Tribulite has a different note here. I feel more comfortable representing the energy during the exhalation as flowing outwards from the heart chakra. It is preferable if you explore this and let me know your feedback. Okay, so let's just continue with that. And then imagine that within the vortex there is a point in which you go to nothingness, at the void. And you're gathering energy right into that void, all right? From above, from below, from the sides, or from the front. And as you exhale, that energy goes outward. So something is gained from going that deep within into that area where there is nothing, that void, that what we spoke of before. It's the ultimate unknowable place. So you're gathering energy from the outside to the inner, and from the inner to the outer. And again, if it's not, you can toggle between the solar plexus and the heart. And if it's too sensitive in the solar plexus, just stay with the heart.
So what did you experience?
Tell them right, yes, what did you experience?
In the first, there were three parts to what you read, the three things that we did. And in the first, my solar plexus was like a jet engine, right? The last one, bringing energy in and sending it out, it felt to me as though, because he said, let me know how this goes for you. Okay, here's how it goes for me. It felt to me as though bringing the energy in the solar plexus and then up to the heart and out was a different practice than what you read as the Tibetan instruction. So that was my experience. So I stayed with just directly in and out.
Okay. All right.
And you often refer to the solar plexus as being very tender, but for me, the solar plexus, the heart feels more tender.
See, it's individual. Yeah.
and almost painful sometimes.
Yeah, it's quite individual. You know. But most people refer to the solar plexus as being the most sensitive, and the heart as being more expressive.
Hmm.
So, anybody else?
This time I was able to experience that void, so it was quite the opposite of the original time. That was just nothing. It was just very much like almost looking down into a wormhole into the universe and just being calm.
Okay.
And then every once in a while I'd still get the twitch. I don't know, every once in a while if I toggle back and forth, so I just kind of tried to stay there and let that spread over everything.
Yeah.
But I don't quite remember. It was just,
It's okay.
yeah.
Okay. The solar plexus, you take in a lot of energy from other people in the world. It's where you experience that
Okay.
you know, people's emotions and
Yeah.
all. Take it all in from there. You know, it's like often people go, oh, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, and that's where you feel a lot of stuff. So,
Okay.
It was the experience of the gateway into the void.
okay.
No.
Going outward.
There were no boundaries.
Anything surprising? Were you surprised?
Yeah, the jet engine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was aware of everything here
Okay,
simultaneously.
okay. That's what we were talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
About that.
This was really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, getting it. That's good.
Okay. This practice can be applied to each chakra, since the core of each chakra is looked upon as a vacuum at the center of a vortex of energy in the energy field of the body. So if you think of your electromagnetic energy field surrounding the body as a template for the body, physical body, and then you can think of the whole body as an energy field, then these vortexes make sense. And sometimes you'll see the chakras depicted as cones that come out from the heart, right? And sometimes within the cones there are other cones, several other ones, okay? And not only do they come out from the front, they come out through the back as well. So it's like they expand in both directions, okay? All right. From this vacuum emerges new energy into the universe, such as we conceive of it, precisely like the white holes we hear about in the views of astrophysicists into the last frontiers of science. In fact, the whole spinal cord and all of its ramifications are considered as a vast network of streamers of negative energy in the nature of sunyata, contrasting with the rest of the energy field of the body. So that's really a mouthful, you know. That's why in the beginning, it's when I quoted that from the Buddhist, and even the body is a wonderful vehicle in which to foster realization, so long as one develops its potentialities. And Hazrat Inayat Khan, we are endowed with such great powers, yet normally we only use a small fraction of our inborn capabilities. Okay. In the light of this information, dwell in the heart chakra, experience it as a particular brand of energy, its powerful magnetism energizing out of an impersonal, internal, and cosmic power source. It is outgoing, therefore giving, but also all-encompassing. The Sufis look upon this energy as a fragment of the heart of God, endowed with unlimited magnanimity, unconditional love for all beings, whether likable or not, reprehensible or not, or even criminal. The appropriate wazifa is Ya Rahman. The Hindus compare the awakened and enlivened heart with an oyster which accommodates a grit of sand and transforms it into a pearl, smoothing its edges.
Okay, what's the barrier? Sounds good. What's the barrier?
What do you mean the barrier?
The barrier to experiencing this unconditional acceptance of all beings regardless of their criminality.
Very good question. Very good question.
Yeah, what's the barrier?
Judgment.
Okay, yeah, but what else? But that judgment stems from something.
Separateness.
Them and us, right?
Yeah, them and us.
It goes back to what's
That's the
allowed
value of
us.
going into the void.
Yeah.
Because when you enter into the void, when you enter into samadhi, you're in a state of unity. There already is no separation. It's not possible in that state. And when you come back from it, the state of fana, which we mistranslate as annihilation, it's merging really. But always after fana comes baka, which is the rebirth. But rebirth with new information, right? Or maybe not. Rebirth and having been apprised of aspects of beingness that were unavailable up to that moment.
I think of it a little differently.
Well, it's okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
as the
Disagree.
as
See
the
if I
dis-
can.
dis- the dis- as a dissolution of the concepts of who you think you are, or the dissolution.
Well, that's not different.
The dilution of your concepts of the nature of reality or the nature of the world, etc.
Yeah.
So it's think of it more as a dissolution rather than a merging.
That's all part of it, yeah.
Okay.
Because if you when you merge into the one, all of that stuff has to be left behind. You can't do it otherwise,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because the fundamental exercise is relaxation. Ultimate form of relaxation, which you relax everything.
Listening, it sounds like the same thing, like just two different ways to describe
Yeah.
the same thing.
Mine's more right.
That's my dear husband speaking.
Hers is more descriptive.
That was good.
Okay. We go on like this all the time. Pay no attention. Pay no attention. Okay.
It's marvelous to see you two laugh.
What else are you gonna do?
Are you doing the eye roll?
Huh? No, I wasn't rolling my eye. Did I do an eye roll? Did I?
I didn't see anything.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know. I was looking.
Good girl. You can come back.
All right.
I think I took my glasses off.
Quiet down, because we're doing a little practice right now. Ya Rahman. So
Do them both. But read the next one and then the
Okay.
next paragraph and then do
now
both.
compare. No,
It is Rahim
it says. All right.
in the next paragraph, I think. Doesn't it?
Not yet.
Oh,
Okay, we'll do it separately and then we'll
Okay.
do it together. Okay.
Can you please just repeat the very beginning when he first said Ya Rahman? What
Okay.
he said about that.
All right. It's like the Sufis look upon this energy as a fragment of the heart of God, endowed with unlimited magnanimity. Okay now? Unconditional love for all beings, whether likable or not, reprehensible or not, or even criminal. The appropriate wazifa is Ya Rahman. So the key there is the fragment of the heart of God. Okay? The Hindus compare the awakened and enlivened heart with an oyster which accommodates a grit of sand and transforms it into a pearl, smoothing its edges. Now that the key there is that the grit of sand in the oyster is an irritation.
Mhm.
Okay, so that the irritate, I mean, some criminals, people that are surrounding you or around may be an irritant,
No.
you know. So or some irritating people, whatever, you know. so it's like, but in the heart, that's also always creating a coating around this grain of sand, turns it and transforms it into a pearl. So it's like this is the real concentration of the heart. Okay? So you can think of that grain of sand as, as any annoying person that they're presently encountering, or if you
I
like.
can't think of anyone.
Oh, me either. Who would it be? Okay. So while we concentrate on the heart, just breathe in and out the heart a minute. I want you to do Ya Rahman, and you can do it. You do it at your own pace. I mean, you can do it 3 times and stop and see how it feels. Then continue for a little while. Stop, see how it feels in the heart. Again, do it again, and continue just for a little while. Okay. So whenever you like to begin, you may begin. All right. So the Ya is in the heart. Feel the vibration, sound. Concentrate also on the sound vibration in your body. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman. And again, go into the core of that vortex, at the point where it's emptiness, and then out into its fullness. Good. Now compare the way you feel in the heart chakra with what you feel as you transfer your attention and sense of identity to the solar plexus. Dwell within it for some time. It is extremely sensitive, like a vulnerable sensor open to influences accruing from nearby and far away. You will notice wounds, resentments, feelings of rejection, even dejection, misunderstandings, feelings of underestimation, overstress, scars from earlier wounds, healing from your childhood. If you practice expanding your consciousness, you will pick up distress signals from beings, humans, animals, even plants, suffering agony on the planet and even beyond at cosmic reaches. You will feel immense compassion. So again, toggling between the heart and the solar plexus. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman.
it's interesting to note that Rahman is normally translated as mercy, but in some texts it's translated as graciousness.
It's translated as compassion,
Mercy.
actually.
Read on.
Okay. Compassion. Okay. The Sufis look upon the solar plexus, calm, as a fragment of the heart of God. This heart is bleeding because of the cruelty of beings who abuse the divine gift of free will, a token of God's generosity. The wazifa is Ya Rahim. Now it must be obvious that the heart chakra and the solar plexus form together the two poles of the same reality, just like joy and pain. Hence the tandem wazifas, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, mercy and compassion. All right. Let us once more explore the nature of the energy field. Okay, let's just go again with the Ya Rahman and Ya Rahim. Once again, just allow your breath find your heart chakra and your solar plexus. And once more, we'll do Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim 33 times. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, 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 Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Then put Rahman on the inhalation, Rahim on the exhalation. anyone care to express themselves on this? It's okay if you didn't get anything at all.
It's just really intense, very serious.
Serious is a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, serious business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we in the beginning we tend to focus entirely on ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
how we're evolving, how we're experiencing things.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, you begin to realize it's much more than that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sense of that in the room, isn't there?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel a lot of personal conviction in terms of it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be practicing more, or I'm supposed to be, and it's not in a sense of guilt as much as it is like, I know I could stay longer in this place and I guess be more effective if I allowed myself the time and took the time, to bring myself back to this place. So it's convicting in that sense, discipline-wise.
Okay, but it's got to be natural.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a forced discipline.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else? No? Alina, anything? Okay. Okay. Let us once more explore the nature of the energy field at that junction. Here you really do feel very intensely the negativity of the energy, a suction effect. One imagines a black hole drawing you into a whole different dimension of reality. Now you are experiencing the vairagya, the withdrawal from life, detachment, imperturbability of the sannyasin. In this state you will find great peace, in fact a peace beyond what one could ever imagine. It is not indolence, it is a peace out of which a new dispensation of activity emerges. And I read that sentence again, it's very important. It is not indolence, it is a peace out of which a new dispensation of activity emerges. You will be touching upon the new blossoming of your personality before it has gelled into idiosyncrasies. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's important to be aware of any realization that you have coming in, and then to take that realization and act upon it.
There's a further step that he just said. It's a clue in the sentence, and then it becomes natural. You're just who you are. It's no longer something that's added to you. It's just who you are.
Yeah, but sometimes it can be just dissipated if you're not
continually recharging it. Yes, absolutely.
Now you understand what is meant by inverted space. Everything is everywhere. Okay. Just for a moment, just very, very briefly, go right back into the heart chakra, right into the center of the vortex, just with your mind. And be aware of any new dispensation of energy or quality that wishes to emerge. Just sit in silence with that thought in mind. If anything comes to you, earmark it. All right. If you bear in mind that you exist at several levels, then you need to consider the aspects of what you have been exploring in the realm of light. Shifting your consciousness to the plane of light, the heart will appear as a miniature sun. This is where it becomes fun, okay? You are that miniature sun within the sun. Since the sun does not have a boundary, you bathe within the sun. One aspect of all this is solar. Excuse me. Envision yourself now as a solar being, radiant, effulgent. You will now be identifying with the entire aura, but if you apply the rule of keeping your consciousness turned within, you will look upon the aura as an extension of the heart chakra. That is, the heart chakra is really the radiant center of the aura. Identify yourself with it. You are a golden light breaking up into arrays of various hues as you extend beyond the center. Of course, each chakra has its own brand of radiation, contributing to that vast intermeshing of rainbows that is in the likeness of the aura. But for the moment, center in the heart chakra. From this reference point, the lower chakras may seem more reddish. The solar plexus seems more incandescent than radiant, rather orange like smoldering embers. The higher chakras seem more bluish, reaching into a colorless light crowning the entire aura. If you concentrate insistently upon this whole pattern of effulgence, you will feel as though you exist in a world of light. The physical world is just a crystallization of that level of reality with which you are now identifying. All right. So do that now. Just go right into the heart. You are the sun within that sun. Experience the entire aura and all the chakras shifting and radiating beautiful light. The light having no boundary whatsoever, so that the light of your heart and of your aura reaches out to the stars and accepts the light from the stars. If you now shift your identity into the solar plexus, you will feel as though you are plunging into an incandescent gas, sucking you into a black hole. Steady yourself, counter the impending disillusion. You will now discover that deep area with which you is still you, and where a lot of psychological waste is being incinerated. The Tibetans describe it as a burning fireball. It burns more brightly by dint of your concentration upon it. They sometimes describe it as a candle that drips if burning overmuch. The sensation of dripping evidences one's sensitivity to the emission of hormones from the pancreas. These in turn are transmitted lower down to the adrenal glands. Amen. How did you experience that? Doesn't necessarily mean you experienced what Pirbalai has stated here.
I went somewhere.
Into the void.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I went, and then part of it I went into my past, just remote memory, maybe not significant. I experienced it at the beginning as a golden eagle, and then kind of expanded out into golden light, and then whatever else happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I started out with ocean
What one?
ships.
Yeah.
Ships of large ocean ships, and then it went into the what?
Okay. Sarla?
I just had an overlay of the idea of the solar plexus as an incinerator of things.
It's like your image of the jet engine before was very apropos, you know? Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're almost done here. Alright. So, yeah. I thought, if it's an incinerator, then it can take my stubbornness. Chew it up.
Mine got shipped out.
Okay. Okay. It would involve us in intricate references to physiology to describe these physiological and psychological effects upon us. Suffice it to say that the esoteric chemistry of the body reacts at this point very markedly to our moods. Despair acts adversely upon our ability to transform the physical environment in the form of food into the particular pattern of our body cells. Conversely, one can counter this dysfunction by joy. Laugh therapy. Out of the raging fire incinerating our impurities arises the burning flame of love in the heart, another example of the need to work with both chakras in conjunction. Okay, that's the end of the lesson.
Thus endeth the lesson.
Thus endeth the lesson.
So we can do a laugh therapy at the end.
Jeez.
A very good idea. Very good idea. So
Tell
just
jokes.
start laughing. Just begin laughing. It's just somebody begin laughing. So there they go.
I think spontaneous laughter.
No, come on, Miss Howard. Start laughing.
I'm chuckling. Should I be recording this?
That's really funny.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There's only so much we can say.
Do you want to go on, or do you want to stop for the day?
Oh, I can go on.
Yeah,
for
I
that.
Because we
Go
can do
on.
more.
Let's go
Yeah.
on.
There's more.
Let's do it.
Okay. This is, I think I've mentioned this before. My friend Zumru says that what Pir Vilayat was teaching ultimately was a conversation between Ibn al-Arabi and Hazrat Inayat Khan. Have I said this to you before?
Yeah.
To me, yeah.
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 And in a way that's
Kind of goes along with this conference of Sufi's book.
Right, right, yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting into the fourth presence, which is what he's done here is he's gone from what we would think of as the prime source of being, which is complete within itself, as it expresses itself. You know, Pure Light has that saying, in the solitude of its unity, the only being fragmented itself out of love for the possibility of you and I, the stars and the planets. Right? So that's Ibn Arabi describing it in a different way, in much more elaborate terms. The fourth presence, this is called the universe of witnessing, or the universe of possession, the universe of mortality, the universe of creation, which is Khalq, the universe of senses, the universe of species, the universe of galaxies, stars, and birth. What is meant by these as the metals, plants, and animals. They also count the great throne, which is Azim. You know, you guys have all done the practice Azim. Well, there it is. That's the breadth of it. To be in this station. This station circumscribes the totality of the universe of form. Now, these are of the terminology appertaining to the universe of witnessing. Do you find that an interesting word?
Mm-hmm.
Witnessing. In other words, your experience of yourself is as you are your own witness, right? You're witnessing your being, you're witnessing your experiences, you're witnessing the things that you encounter and that you endeavor to do and so on. Right?
Right, and then it gets like recorded
Yeah, that's what a witness
from,
does.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not just observing, but to take the memory of it.
Mm-hmm. All that has been left, all that has been left out of these universes mentioned above is called the universe of unknowableness, which is the first presence, right? Or it's Gayab. It's a liminal Gayab. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, but I think I'm close. Whereas all that is here mentioned is the universe of order, Amir. Thus, these two names are used. The term unknowableness and witnessing and or affairs of the world and affairs of the other world may also be used. Do you see this parallel between what we've just been doing all day and this, what he's saying right here? The difference between the heart and the solar plexus. Okay. What will follow below, the four universes are like oceans. Now here's where we get into basic Sufi metaphysics that you should know. These are the universes of possession, mulk. You know the practice Malik al-Mulk? Okay, King of Kings. Universe of possession. Universe of spirit, which is Malakut. Omnipotence, Jabarut. And divinity, Lahut. Okay? So we got Mulk, Malakut, Jabarut, and Lahut. You guys all familiar with these? You should be.
Yeah.
Maybe not you. You might not have
Not
experienced
quite.
them yet. But they're part of the basic 7 planes of existence. Okay, you have Nasut, which is this experience of manifestation, physicality, and then I always get them mixed up. Arwal, is it Arwal it's thinking of, or Khayal?
Awa.
Awa is the thinking of Nasut. So the universe of manifestation has a thought process, right? And then Mithal is like the plane of creative intelligence. Okay, okay, it's where the jinns live. Imagination, so on. And the thinking of Mithal is Khayal. I have a list somewhere. The next one is so Mithal. That's where the word myth comes from. Mythology, right? Comes from Arabic or Persian, I think. Okay, and then we get into then is Malakut, Jabarut, Lahut, and Hahut. Hahut is the most refined of these states of being, just before you get into Ahadiyat being unity. Okay?
Okay.
Got all that?
Somewhere.
Okay.
Get that in writing.
Okay, and it's according to the quotation, I was a hidden treasure. You know the quotation from the Quran, I was a hidden treasure and I long to be known, therefore I created the universes that I might be known. Okay, or something like that. The Ipseity of God overflowing manifested the universe of Jabarut. This is also called qualified spirit. When the Jabarut overflowed, it brought into manifestation Malakut. With the overflowing of the Malakut was manifested the Mulk. Now, have you ever watched one of those Nova programs where they describe or I think it's that series on the universe, where they describe how it is that the universe came into being, that the initial stages of the Big Bang, there was no possibility of what we know as life because the whole physics of the place was completely different from what it is now. Have you ever seen this program on the universe?
Well, it's a whole bunch of series, and I've seen a few of them.
Yeah. And they talk about that kind of thing. It's very cool. So that's what he's talking about here, isn't he? Same thing, except physicists put it in physicist terms. Okay? What is meant here by overflowing is the natural inclination consequent to the nature of ipseity. All that which has been mentioned up to now happened within the space of time necessary for the blinking of an eye. That is to say, a very short time, and perhaps even a shorter time. The quotation from the Quran points to this. Our affairs are accomplished in as short a time as a wink, or even in a much shorter time. This is a matter of order, and this order is called Khun, or be. Now,
spell that?
K-U-N.
Kun.
To everything in imminence, Khan. He said be, and in that instant everything happened. Now, you can actually use this. Say that you have an expression of yourself that you have discovered while you are in a deep state of meditation. And having discovered this aspect of yourself, or this expression of self, you further recognize something that you can do in the physical world, just like you did just a few minutes ago, right? You suddenly realize the responsibility of it all, right? Then if you focus, concentrate on that, whatever it is, whatever it may be, and then you go, Kun! You have activated it. Of course, it has to be with absolute sincerity. Can't be anything other than that. Can't come from the ego. Like, ooh, if I do this, I'll get a new Ferrari. That's the way I think. So far, it hasn't worked.
Gotten close.
Yeah.
So the kun is
So be it.
the so be it
Right.
of something that's not personal. Or can it be something personal?
I suppose
Can
it
it
could
be
be-
used with a healing?
I don't know. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't use it with healing.
You wouldn't use it with healing. Healing has to be more gentle. It's
No,
like you're
no.
activating something quite powerful, and I think it has to be pretty neutral.
Yeah,
think.
I don't know. I wouldn't use. I would rarely use this.
Yeah, I know, I don't use it.
Rarely
Especially
use
because that would be an externalization,
Yeah, yeah,
which
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
The body, in a sense, heals itself. So you have to allow the body the opportunity to do that. to
Yeah, what a
heal
healer
itself.
is doing, a healer is guiding, and they're not implementing anything.
Yeah. So, it's like but I don't know, just give it some thought. And,
I'm just looking at what the boundaries are, where it would be most appropriate. And you're saying now use it highly gingerly.
Very. I can only think of 3 or 4 circumstances in my whole life that I've ever actually done it.
Yeah, rather than
And that was only in a group situation where we were activating something for the group. I've never done it for a personal reason.
or something, because it can be, it's a fine line of interference
yeah,
and creation,
Yeah.
natural creation.
yeah.
Well, but doesn't that speak back to what you've taught before about co-creation?
Yeah, but that's a very tricky area.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful. You know that you're in a state of co-creation when you're basic fundamentally egoless. Because as soon as the ego interferes and says, "Ooh, this is really cool. Look what I'm doing," you have just withdrawn from that state of being. And so you have to be really, really, really careful about that. And you just know it. If you try to implement it just because you want to be cool, that will have repercussions too.
Could you just read the part about the angels? The 10th.
The what?
Remember the 10th part? The whole of creation here is only a 10th of the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That was really cool.
You like that, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll skip over the perfect man. If you guys want to know what the perfect man is, you can do your own research. But
We've been trying.
For decades.
There.
I think we're talking about the perfect human here. Okay, or the perfect man, because there are other planets, right? So the perfect manifestation of physicality, I think would be the way to put that. Something like that. Okay, here we go. Let us give this useful information. Ready? What there is upon the surface of the world as creation is considered as only 1/10 of what is in the waters. If that which is in the waters and what is on the earth could be considered together, they would only be 1/10 of what is in the skies. If these were all considered together, they would be 1/10 of the number of angels living in the first heavenly sphere. All these together would make up 1/10 of those in the second heavenly sphere, and this comparison continues to the seventh heavenly sphere. And these which are in 7 layers in depth of the earth and 7 layers of heavenly spheres, counted together with the heavenly creatures, barely come to 1/10 of the number of the angels living on the pedestal. It's called a Kursi. This Quranic quotation says thus: His Kursi encompassed the heavens and the earth. On the Kursi, the creatures of the 7 layers of the earth and the 7 layers of the heavenly spheres, and the waters which come to 1/10 of the number of angels who take refuge in one corner of the throne, and all that has been counted up to now, could make up 1/10 the number of Muhaimin angels. Remember, Muhaimin is protection, right? But I'm not sure about these guys. The next sentence is kind of strange. It's made her giggle. Okay. The Muhaimin angels, since the day they were created to this day, have not lifted their gaze from looking at the sweetness of the beauty and are in ecstasy in gazing upon that beauty. So I don't know how much protecting they can do. There you go. They neither know themselves nor do they know the others. And up to now they do not even know that the universes were created, nor the creation of Adam nor Iblis. Now, can you see where protection would come in there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's totally pure. It's absolute innocence.
That a
Of course
girl.
it's
I like smart people.
protection.
Then God has a great angel who has numberless hairs on his head. Now, why you said that? I don't know. Really fuzzy guy. According,
Or numberless, that there are none.
yeah, maybe. Oh, good point. Yeah. According to this comparison, all the angels and everything else talked about is just one pearl on the hair of a person. Had God given this angel the order, he would have swallowed up the whole of existence as one morsel and would not have even noticed that something had passed his throat. The name of this angel is, would you like to guess? Ru, or spirit.
Okay.
That's another name for spirit, is Ru.
Are you?
R-U-H. Like in the pantheon of prophets, Jesus is known as Ruhallah.
Spirit of God, yeah.
Which tells you something about his status.
What chapter are you reading from that book?
Chapter 4, I think.
Okay.
Thus, if all the affairs that have been enumerated, the angels and the spheres, were put into the heart of the perfect man, he would not feel in his heart even the weight of an atom. When Bayezid reached this station, he said the following. Bayezid's a Sufi sheikh, and from 10th century, I think. If the throne and all that is there had been increased 1,000,000 times and put into the corner of the heart of the Gnostic, he would not even feel their existence. The heart which does not fit into the heavens and the earth and the throne and the pedestal has become the place of revelation of the grandeur, Azim, and majesty, Jalal, and the totality of his ipseity and all the qualities of God. This is also corroborated by the Hadith Qudsi, I cannot fit into my heavens or into my earth, but I fit into the heart of my believing servant. Mumin. Can I read that again? I cannot fit into my heavens or into my earth, but I fit into the heart of my believing servant. Okay? The first Mumin refers to the perfect man, and the second to the ipseity of the reality. In other words, the perfect man is the mirror to the reality. And here's a commentary. Ibn al-Arabi in the Fusus al-Hikam, while telling of the grandeur of the heart, also touched upon the saying of Bayezid and said, what he said is the grandeur of the Gnostic in comparison to bodies. Here I will also say like this, an existence which has no end is considered an end for the quality which created it. Okay, an existence which has no end is considered an end for the quality which created it. This existent, which has neither limit nor end, had it encompassed the heart of the perfect man would not have felt its weight. The grandeur which Ibn Arabi explains will not fit into any number of calculation. It's not even the sort of thing that can be contained in any conjecture or comparison. That relies on taste. May God make those tastes possible for all of us. Now this goes right along with something I was just reading from Murshid that was saying that we each of us have within us the prophet. We each of us within us have the capacity to become the perfect man or the perfect human. We each of us have the capacity, the ability, the ipseity to express our wholeness. And what's the barrier?
Our minds.
Yeah, thinking we can't do it. That's way too much. You know, what's people I used to talk about? Well, there's these bees that are they're up in the mountains and they live in caves and they sit on the ground and, you know, their spine is activated by magnetism from the earth, and they can sit in a full lotus and we can't, and you know, and they're really holy. I don't know if I could do that. Probably not, because I don't sit in a cave or rub ashes all over my forehead or anything like that, do I? So we see these beings as being somehow other. Well, we deal with people who throw trash in our flower boxes. Right, Sarah? Yeah. Or the guy down the street that mows the street. You know? When he mows his lawn, he spends the whole day mowing, running the lawnmower up and down the street. It's the I swear to God, I've seen him do it. I have no idea what's going through his mind. And, you know, things like that. Or, you know, the lady across the street that yells when one of my clients parks on that side instead of this side. Because she gets all upset and she'll honk. So even her has the capacity for expressing the perfection of humanity. Right? Now, imagine that your being is actually striving to not only understand that, but to become it. And then when you consider who you are, it becomes a little shaky. Because you have all this baggage and all this stuff you've done, the things that annoy you, and your resentments and your sins and all the things, right? So what do you suppose it is that we're doing? Now, a lot of people join spiritual groups like this for one purpose only. Because they want to feel better about themselves. They want to be more complete or something. And there's something, you know, I know these guys will make me happy. You know, whatever, you know, but then the happiness that they're describing is really a selfish kind of thing, isn't it? You know, because it's for them, their happiness. So what is it that we're doing? Don't tell them.
That expression, work hard, play hard, comes to my head. Yeah. Work hard, play hard. That's it. We have a lot of fun, we work really hard. It's wonderful and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
We serve.
We serve.
Okay, what do you sing service to? Let me revise that. What makes you think there's anything wrong?
It's hard to parse out all the cultural stuff, programming.
Yeah, so that's what you
There are
have to do.
things-
That's what you have to concentrate on, is to recognize that all of this the cultural programming, as you put it, is an impediment.
Including the war.
It's all an impediment. I tried to explain this once to a Miri, and boy, she got angry at me. She screamed at me, oh my gosh. I'm never ever going to be your, you know, just fine, I'm going to find a guy. Just, you're terrible. So, 3 or 4 years later, I happened to see her at the abode. She says to me, you know what, you're the best guy I ever had. But she didn't ask me to keep doing it, so.
You shake too hard.
Apparently so, yeah.
So a shake is really a shaker.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's wrong anymore. No.
Yeah,
It's not about that.
that's right. Yeah, you have to be really careful, which is not to say that there are not injustices that can be addressed,
Right.
you know. One of the things that Pir Vilayat was very adamant about was no political involvement for the Sufi order. Every so often someone would try to do something. No, we can't do that. You're not going to get any way, you know, you see something going on. However, he did also said that if there's something that you personally feel, then by all means address it.
Okay.
Because we do not interfere with the path of an individual. We as a group do not implement political activity. But as an individual, go ahead.
I think as a group, as our inheritance, and throughout the, reverberation of Sufis of all time, I think we're a staying energy. I hesitate to use the word force, but I think that we are in service to stay, and although ever changing and ever learning, be consistently this light for being, to reflect back to God.
Did you notice today that you stretched your minds?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a huge.
Did you
Stretching.
notice today that you stretched your hearts?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
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 Or
It's very
it
unique.
just initiated something
Mhm.
there,
Yeah.
touched upon something.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
When you do that within yourself by necessity, it's the pebble in the pond thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Just happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But you don't take credit for it. Right? Okay?
I think it's time for the
I think it is too. O thou, who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the Lord of heaven and earth, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly comes from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate God, give us thy great goodness, teach us thy loving forgiveness, raise us above the distinctions and differences which divide us, send us the peace of thy divine Spirit, and unite us all in thy perfect being. Disclose to us thy divine light, 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 disclose to us thy divine light. Warner of coming dangers, awakener of the world from sleep, deliverer of the message of God, thou art our Savior, the Son of the dawn of creation, the light of the whole universe, the fulfillment of God's purpose. Thou, the life eternal, we seek refuge in thy loving enfoldment. Spirit of guidance, source of all beauty, and creator of harmony, love, lover, and beloved Lord, thou art our divine ideal. Amen.
Amen.